The best thing I did when I got lit is left. Like, if that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like my advice to like anybody in Sacramento doing anything popping. Like, the minute you start to feel any type of big fish, small pond, I done hit my head on the ceiling type vibes, go to LA for 6 months. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't sign a year lease. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wait till your lease is up at wherever you stand or whatever, if you can, or like sublease your spot or whatever, and just go test the water somewhere. Like, I didn't move straight to New York when I started going out there. Like, I went out there for like 4 months, you know what I'm saying? And then came back and then decided like, New York is lit, and then went back out there. But the biggest thing I did why I have like a lot of the relationships I do is because like I traveled a lot when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? And people like, you know, it's just like when you start, you might not have a conversation with somebody, but if you see them at 3 places and you're like, nah, this is really like some place that you could really only get if you're networking and like doing what you're supposed to do. If you're in like, all right, I need to know this person or whatever.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Hypocritical AF podcast. I'm your host, Albert Fig, and in this week's special episode, we are recording live from the Basics Barbershop in downtown Sacramento, 408 12th Street. Shout out to my homie Jeffrey. I appreciate you for making this happen. So bless up to Jeff. This week, special guest, Sacktown legend. What can I say? There's plenty of different names you could call him. Plus Money, Chef Plus, King Plus. Shit, you can even go back in the day and call him Black Miller, but we're going to go with...
Oh, man, I haven't heard that in a minute. Rest in peace, Mac Miller.
Rest in peace, Mac Miller. We're going to introduce him as C+. What's up with it, bro?
What's going on, bro?
Chilling,
Thank you for
bro.
having me. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you for sliding. Because it's hot as shit, and I know how it is out there to make that mob. I want to tell you, I want to start with how I first got like put onto you and how I got introduced to your music and everything, right?
Okay.
So I first moved out here in Sacramento at the end of 2013.
Okay.
No, actually, the homie Josh, shout out to Josh, he's in the back. He was one of the first people I met out here, the first friends I made out here and everything. So when we came out here, because we ain't never been to Sac, we didn't know shit about Sac music. I mean, at least I didn't. Like, I knew Bay Area coming from like Central Coast and Central Valley. I knew Bay Area, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know East Coast. I knew like Texas style music and everything, but I didn't know anybody here locally in Sac. So it wasn't until going into 2014, I think by this time you already had, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you already like, I want to say 2 projects and like 1 EP, maybe even more by that time that was already out.
2014, I had two albums like on streaming platforms, and then I probably had like 1 or 2 mixtapes or like EPs. Actually, probably more than that. I probably had like, I did have more, but like it was like all on like Media Fire and like iMeme. I don't know if you remember iMeme and shit like that before SoundCloud and stuff like that. So I had mad projects like out if you search to find them, or I felt like you followed me and you got the links. But like streaming, I had like 2 real projects out at the
All
time.
City, Locals.
Yep.
And the EP, was it Young
Champions?
Young Champions,
with Lee Bannon.
Yep. That was like the first way that I got put onto it. And then I was like, oh, this is different, because it threw me off. I was like, this dude from Sacramento? You know what I mean? Like, because the style that you could hear the influence it from East Coast and like 90s heavy, you feel me? Like Ghostface, Wu-Tang. And
for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Like the influence is there. And I'm thinking, okay, this is different from Sac. Because, you know, especially at that time, I'm talking about like 2007 to like 2012. I was in, 2010 through 2013, I was in Georgia at the time. So I wasn't really, this was when HBK was kind of like coming up heavy. I didn't really know about them over there until Sage put out Gas Pedal with Sue. And I knew it was big because it made its way all the way over in Georgia. And, you know, at that time, during this time frame, this is when Migos was coming on the scene heavy. Rich Homie Quan heavy, you feel me? And Future had just, I want to say Future had just dropped Gone to the Moon mixtape. And so the fact that HBK and everything was getting played on that level, it made me like be like, oh shit, like, okay, like they're doing some shit good in the Bay. And so that's all I had known, you know what I'm saying? And so I came across your music and I was like, nah, this shit different. It slaps, you know what I'm saying? Lyrical driven for sure. Yeah. And so
definitely.
so you tell me what's up with this, because I I kind of have the thing with the podcast where I don't have an identity. And that's my thing with the podcast. Like, I don't have a specific genre or niche that they try to, I don't like to get boxed in when it comes to shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right. It's just like whatever you into type shit.
Yeah. Like 1 minute, one week might be interview guest driven. Next week, I might be a solo one. The next week, I might have like a barber on, or and then the following week, I might have like a trauma survivor. You know what I'm saying? So like, I like to expand my range. You know what I'm saying? And
I like that.
Yeah. And then with you, it's like, and this is what I'm saying, like, tell me if I'm off on this one, but with your style, I like to say is lyrically driven, 90s based with East Coast flavor. Am I kind of on the hip to that?
Yeah, those are all accurate for the most part.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like I that's how I interpreted it, and I was like, okay, different for sure. You know what I'm saying? So let's talk about that. Talk about your style, like where it derives from. And like I know we hit on it with the 90s and the East Coast flavors and shit, but where does it come from?
I don't think it was ever really like a specifically trying to sound like East Coast or like me being like overly influenced by the East Coast. I just think like, all right, so it's like if hip hop came out, like, you know, it's the 50th anniversary of hip hop right now, right? So if hip hop came out in what, like 78, I think, and like the real like East Coast MCs, I think that like a lot of people compare me to, like Nas and Raekwon and Ghostface and Big L and cats like that, they were all around like 92, 93, 94. So if you think about it, like, when did NWA come out? Like 89?
89, then it blow up big to like 92, 91?
Right. Yeah. Nas came out in 94. That's like a drastic gap in sound in just those couple years, right?
Yeah.
But it's also, if you look at around that same time, like Souls of Mischief came out in like 93. Like the Alcoholics came out in like 93. The Far Side came out in like 92, 93, around that time. So it's like, if you listen to those West Coast lyric-driven hip-hop albums at that time, they don't sound super different than what was going on the East Coast. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't until Dre and them came with the Chronic and really came with what was considered like West Coast gangster rap, you know what I'm saying, that they automatically categorize all music from the West Coast is this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
true.
like, so I wouldn't say that my style is like, to sum that up, I wouldn't say my style is like specifically like East Coast driven. It's just I've always gravitated towards like the more lyrical type hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like I was always super impressed by like wordplay and like flows and stuff like that, as opposed to just like the song being catchy or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like at least like when I first really, really started to get into rap, like around like 12, 13, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just like I would listen to stuff on the radio, but then it's like when I could get my hands on like my brother's music and steal his stuff and burn it and or whatever, like then I started listening to like Wu-Tang and like getting into like Mobb Deep and like stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Facts, yeah.
So all that stuff was just, it was just more appealing because it's like, yo, all the stuff I heard on the radio was burnt out. You hearing the same 50 to 100 songs every day versus
same like, cadence, same bounce,
And that's even like back in the 90s, there was a lot of stuff that was starting to like sound the same or whatever. But like at least back in the day, I feel like it was, you were criticized if you sounded like somebody else. Like if you came out sounding like somebody else, you might get a little play, but like they weren't jacking that. You know what I'm saying?
This shit they weren't in rotation like that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It's a perfect analogy or a segue into that. Like I said, it goes back to the podcast thing with like the no identity type of thing. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to like when people put that label or just to try to mash you in that box. You know what I'm saying?
Well, it's messed up because it's like people gravitate. Like you gotta put everything that you want people to mess with you for in the same box. You know what I'm saying? So it's like people like me for like I find the majority of my fan base like will support when I do something that's more quote unquote like real hip hop or like boom bap stuff. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, if you go on YouTube, my songs that have the most views are songs where I've gone outside of that box and tried to be a little bit more versatile or make something that was a little bit more mainstream appealing. You know what I'm saying? So like it goes both ways. And then at the same time, it's like I'm the guy that people hit when it's like, oh, we need someone this is our hip hop song for the album. Like this is our real rap record. We gotta call C+. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
At the same time, there's other guys that put me on songs just because they know I'm versatile and stuff like that. And that's kind of, those have been some of my bigger looks. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, you would hear me on those songs and you wouldn't think it's the same guy that made Two Left for Waves or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's completely different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's also like, and I feel like there's an appeal in that too. Like, so people might put you in a box as the guy that just interviews people that are in the social media realm or like podcast industry or something like that or whatever. And then you hit them with like the trauma survivor stuff, or you hit them with like some sports talk or something, or just some current events or something like that. And it's like, okay, cool. I like this guy for this, but now I know that you could do this too.
Yeah.
I think it just comes in you got to have range, but you also got to stay consistent in everything that you have range in, or else people are just going to look at, like, that's how they look at it. Like, when you do something different, like, oh, he went way left. But it's like, if you consistently are going left, you know what I'm saying? They can't say you went way left. You feel me? Because I've done this before. This ain't new. Like, this is part of my game. This is part of my layup package. You know what I'm saying?
True. Yeah, no, that's facts. Because, I mean, the range is like every other people that I've had on. I mean, I've had mental therapists. I mean, mental health therapists on, on the opposite side from having, a trauma survivor. So then now I have that one aspect of it. And then I have, the mental professional approach to that way too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like both ways that are there for that, the yin and yang almost. And then I've had independent artists. I've had big time artists. I've had just the homies on too. And we just do like a kick it episode. You know what I'm saying?
I like those episodes.
Yeah.
Almost. I haven't watched too many. I've watched like maybe like 2 or 3 whole episodes.
Appreciate it. Hey, one is enough.
But now I like how you chop the content up though, because it makes it digestible. If I'm just like scrolling on social media, I can catch some of the jewels even if I don't watch a full episode.
Appreciate you.
But I like stuff like that when it's just people in their natural element just having real conversations.
Yeah, that's exactly what I try to do for the most part for everybody too. Like, obviously my curiosity gets like the best of me sometimes, but in a good way, I feel like, because I want to dive deep into people and give good intros. Like I said, like how I got, put onto your music, and then, touch on the things that we're going to touch on later. But I like to make it as cool and chill as possible. I call it like the ultimate like layup or the ultimate hangout. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Which was cool too. Like, so I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit, but it was when I finally met you for the first time. It was rare for me because all these years I've been here. I've been to like a show. I've been to like a pop up. And performances with Nash, and then when Monopoly, when they did like their openings and stuff like that. And so, but I never actually got to like meet you like face to face. You know what I'm saying? So it was at Lowbrow. I don't know if you remember, but you was at Lowbrow, and I was just like, oh shit, that's plus. Now's my chance. So like I went up and I was like, hey bro, been a fan of your music. You don't know me. My name's Albert. Gave you a follow and everything. And ever since then, I didn't want to press you and be like, yo, let me get you on the podcast then, I wanted to let it build up organically and naturally. I didn't want to just come off straight just to make it seem like I'm just trying to get something out of you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, no, that's all good.
Yeah, I wanted to come and be like, play your shit, spread your shit, support the music directly. And I like to say that too, support the artist directly as opposed to, just going on YouTube, which is a plus too, but support the artist individually, directly from them.
Yeah, facts.
Yeah. So that's what made it cool, is the fact that I was able to see you out and about. Because I remember I was catching an interview that you did one time too, and you were saying how like, bro, I'm a homebody. Like I don't really get out and do much, which is crazy. Because like I said, between the music and then even going out to you was living in New York for a couple years, doing that. Now you're like cultivating with Chef Plus, you know what I'm saying? Like in the food industry, and then there's still the cannabis industry aspect of it. So it's like, I'm thinking you out and about, bake sales and everything, Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So, but before all that, I want to go back to the New York thing. So, I'm curious with this. When you took off to New York, coming from Sacramento, how were the people receiving you out there?
Until they would hear me talk, like if you came to a show,
like I'm talking about
me perform,
yeah,
you would think I was from out there.
Oh,
until
damn.
you hear me talk.
Yeah.
People, even with me talking, like people wouldn't like catch on right away. Like they'd ask me where I'm from. Like they knew I wasn't from New York, but they didn't know like off the rip, like, oh, you're from California.
Oh, you know they didn't hear the hella?
Nah.
Nah, they didn't.
I ain't going front. I stopped saying hella like really quick.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was like a dead giveaway.
Oh, yeah. When I was in Georgia, bro, I'd be like, I'd say hella hella times, and they'd be like, you're from California, bro.
But you know what's crazy is like a lot of people in New York already were saying hella.
Yeah.
Like it's not like I say mad a lot.
Me too. I say wild and mad. That's mad, crazy, like, wild. Yeah.
Yeah. So like it's the same trade. It's like a trade off. You know what I'm saying? They say hella a lot out there too.
I think I got a little bit of cap out, or no cap out. Sorry, like a cop out for some of it, because I was in Georgia. When I was in Georgia, I was mixed with a bunch of heads from like all over the place. Like I had homies in North Carolina, Baltimore, New York, and Texas. So I got all of their slang and their styles mixed around with me. So like I would take away just from like, you know, like when people from Boston, like they come over here, like their Boston slang will come out, or like their tongue. Mm-hmm. It's like the same thing over there. Like their Texas talk will come out, or Baltimore or New York. You feel me?
There's certain places that like it's a dead giveaway off the bat. Though.
Yeah, yeah.
Like anybody from Louisiana.
Oh yeah,
off
yeah.
the rip, you can tell. Like it might be I don't know if there's differences in the cadence of the talking between like Baton Rouge or like New Orleans or something like that. Mm-hmm. But people from New Orleans or Louisiana off rip, you can tell where they're from. And people from Baltimore for off rip, because you can only go so long in a conversation without using vowels. And the minute that they got to use a word where the vowel is in the center of the word, they're gonna give it away that they're from Baltimore.
Yeah, those Philly head, you know, John's, Philly got like
shout out Philly, I love Philly.
Philly's
one of my favorite places.
Philly got some slang out there. New York, Chicago they say what's that shit they say? They say no, that's Atlanta. They say shorty a lot. Shorty, you know what I mean?
For like men and women.
Yeah, like, for both. That should be throwing me off. But that giveaways with though. But so in New York, you're right there. People they had no idea.
Nah, a lot of so when I went out to New York, it was like around 2011,
12?
Yeah, 2011, 2012. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of people in New York that were doing their thing that were transplants that weren't from New York. Mm. So if you went to like the Lower East Side or like Soho or whatever, and you go in like some of these popping little clothing stores or whatever, 9 times out of 10, the dude that's like the manager for the store, like the dude behind the counter, he not from New York. He's somebody that was probably like from a small town or something like that. Moved to New York on some trying to get like doing the same thing that I'm doing, like trying to get it popping. So that like there's a lot of people, and then too it's like the people that were from New York and stuff like that were already connected like within a lot of those scenes that I was kind of like making my name in and stuff. Mm-hmm. When you from somewhere, you can only get so much money and do so many things with the people that are already from where you're from before you have to start networking and doing things with people that aren't the people you grew up with, the people from your own city and stuff like that. So like a lot of New York people were embracing people from other states and cities because it's like it's the out of town money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true.
Can't get no money with dudes that we grew up with our whole lives or whatever. We already trying to get money with these dudes. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trying to let's get some new blood flowing. You know what I mean?
I ain't never been to New York. That's one of my things that I was supposed to go to. I didn't do. I know Jeff went to go shoot some shit right there, right? He was doing some behind the scenes type of stuff. I want to go. Still want to go. So maybe we could book that up too. You know, I definitely got to hit that one.
You know what another thing is too? I think along just to add on to the point I was saying about a lot of people being transplants and stuff like that. Around that time, New York didn't really, besides like A$AP Rocky, New York didn't really have no rappers out like that.
Especially during that time frame, right?
They had rappers out, but there wasn't. You had like A$AP Rocky, Mickey Fax. I think Troy Ave first started to come out around that time, and that's like really it. Now I think
New York was I'm
trying to think like no shade to anybody that was doing their thing around that time or whatever, but those are like the only like kind of notable names that I could think about in New York rap around that time. You know what I'm saying?
And two, I think, I mean, maybe that's my down south bias too when I was living there, but bro, trap and South music at that time during those years were like on a crazy come up. You know what I'm saying? Like I was seeing.
I'll take that back, Joey Badass.
Oh shit, that's right.
Joey Badass, the whole Beast Coast was starting to do their thing around that time. I can't.
Oh, Dope Bear.
I can't not count them out but they was embracing the out of town money. Like I was hanging around the Pro Era cats a lot. My partner from Atlanta was hanging around the Pro Era cats a lot. Like my other partner from Ohio was hanging around them a lot. You know what I'm saying? My LA partners was hanging around them a lot. You know what I'm saying? And I met so many people in New York that were from. Not too many people that were from Sac, but hella people from the Bay Area.
I'm sure, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it's good. What's good thing, and I got to give you credit for off rip too, is that you get love from like everywhere. You feel me? Like state to state, city to city.
That's all from that timing, like around that time, like from because I did the best thing I did when I got lit is left. Like, that makes sense. Like, you know what I'm saying? And that's like my advice to like anybody in Sacramento doing anything popping. Like the minute you start to feel any type of big fish, small pond, I done hit my head on the ceiling type vibes, go to LA for 6 months. You don't, you know what I mean? Like, don't sign a year lease. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, wait till your lease is up at wherever you staying or whatever, if you can, or like sublease your spot or whatever, and just go test the water somewhere. Like, I didn't move straight to New York when I started going out there. Like, I went out there for like 4 months, you know what I'm saying? And then came back and then decided like, New York is lit, and then went back out there. But the biggest thing I did, why I have like a lot of the relationships I do, is because like I traveled a lot when I was younger. You know what I'm saying? And people like, you know, it's just like when you start with, you might not have a conversation with somebody, but if you see them at 3 places and you're like, nah, this is really like some place that you could really only get if you're networking and like doing what you're supposed to do. If you're in like, all right, I need to know this person or whatever, and you go, y'all gonna lock in type vibes. You know what I mean? So I swear, a lot of that.
We had just talked about, because, you know, up over here, we're in the 30s plus club. We're in our 30s, dog. You know what I'm saying? And we were talking about with Jeffrey, too, when we did the episode right here. He was talking about, like, because we're from the same area originally. Like, we went to the high school together and everything. And he was saying, like, how once we had to dip out, because we both dipped out of the area, and we were here in Sac, you know, but it was that shift of dipping out and coming out to a different area. Now, granted, I know Sac is not, like, the biggest city in the world, but coming from where we're coming from, it's a big difference. Because we come from a small ass, you feel me? Like,
in Georgia?
No, this is Central Coast. Like, you know where, you know where, shit, let's see if you, let's play this game. You know where Salinas is at?
Yeah.
It's okay, south of Salinas.
I said, what I say? I was like, I was outside during the hyphy movement when everybody was going stupid doo-doo dum-dum. I had a bad bitch from Salinas who looks like Selena. Too bad she was a bitty bum bum.
Bro, south of that. So even 45 to a damn near, like 50 minutes, something like that, south of that. That's where we came from.
What's the name of the town?
So King City is the city we went to high school from. King City. And I'm from even south of that. I'm from San Lucas, so it's like 10 miles south of that. That's small as ranch.
St. Lucas, that sounds mafia.
Bro, it's like a ranch, like population. I mean, now it's gone down significantly, but at that time when I was living there, it was 390 people. You feel me? Like, we took the bus to go to the high school in King City, for real, yeah. Like dirt roads, straight up.
390 people?
Yeah, like I grew up in a house full of like, you know, we Mexican, but there's like 13, 14 of us all in the living room. 2 bedroom. Okay. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
everybody working too.
Everybody working, bro. Fields and everything. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, there was a bad bitch from named Selena from Salinas too. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
see how it works?
And so it was that shift that, like you said, though, getting out. And it's actually funny too, because I had Bibi, you know, Bibi Beatriz. She was in one of his music videos too. I sat down with her a while ago. She was on early, like episode 40, I want to say. And she was saying like, she had dipped out. She had moved to Vegas for a bit and then came back. And it was interesting too, because I had asked her, I go, hey, do you think Sacramento is underrated or overrated? And she gave me an answer that was just like, damn near like the clarity, perfect answer. She was just like, look, Sac don't support you until you leave Sac. And she goes, Sac is great. It's amazing. I'm back living here. But like, that's when you come back, it's kind of like you're not popping anymore for some reason. You know what I'm saying? She's like, but it's lit. Like, it's there. That's why she's like, I can't say it's underrated. I can't say it's overrated, because there's so many like underrated artists, creators, and, you know, that are just not known. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, and I don't want to say the word overshadow, because we're talking about the Bay type of stuff, you know, not the overshadow type of thing, but it's just like, it's Sac. So maybe it just doesn't have that, you know, crazy ass name brand like the other cities do. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's what
like we don't have a reputation for culturally trend setting like the Bay Area does.
Yeah.
You have, if you think about the rap game, E40 and then did like the out the trunk music sales, and then E40 brought a lot of slang to the game. That was like like trend setting, right? Bay Area, like Oakland, like the hyphy movement, like really hyphy movement was the whole Bay Area, but a lot of like the core stuff that was going on in the hyphy movement came specifically from Oakland. San Francisco, with everything culturally wise, like everything, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, and that goes back, I'm talking about like to like the hippie eras and like the 60s and stuff like that. Like it's always been like a trend setting, or like we can talk about like the trend setting in the pimp game too, the trend setting in the dope game, how like basically Felix Mitchell like created the crack house, you know what I'm saying? So it's like Sacramento doesn't really have a reputation of trend setting. If anything, we have a reputation of following trends.
I mean, I saw a clip too. You can make an argument that the whole Get Stupid.
Oh yeah, a lot of what was going on in the hyphy movement that didn't come predominantly from Oakland came from G Parkway specifically in Sacramento. You know, a lot of those dances, that was all. Shout out Stupid Swoop. A lot of that stuff came from El Stupido. Like
the Get Stupid. If y'all that don't know, you know, do some research on it.
A lot of Mac Dre's biggest songs were recorded in Sac, like during the time that he was living in Sac.
Yeah, facts. A lot of people don't know that. I just had to put that out there. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, going back to you with the love that you get and everything, I think it's warranted and it's factual, and it's a credit to you for being consistent like this that you have been throughout the years. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't get a 10 plus career and still getting the notoriety that you get for just not putting in the work, for not being consistent with your music, and for not also doing it on the business aspect of things. You know what I'm saying? Because as an independent artist, and this is where something I can relate with too as an independent podcaster, is that anybody could do a podcast, anybody can make music, you know what I'm saying? But it's that shift when you start incorporating it, the business side of stuff, the tax bracket stuff, the LLCs type of shit, you know what I mean? The employee, the EIN numbers type of shit, the numbers, what you putting in and what's the take home type of it, you know what I'm saying? Like that's when it starts to get in the how bad do you want this type of shit, you know what I'm saying? That's where it gets heavy. And as an independent artist, there's not much, especially out here in SAC, there's not much leeway to look out after, you know what I'm saying? There's not someone that's going to give you a blueprint or even coming up to be like, follow this dude, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's a credit to you, and that's what I wanted to hit on next. How has it been on the business aspect of this independent route?
I think once I really like took the pressure off myself, like, so what happened was like, I think around like when I started going to New York and I would come back to SAC and I would go back to New York, it's like I was like almost kind of at a point where I was making a living off of rap at that point. Like I was like still doing other stuff on the side here and there, but like for the most part, like I was kind of paying my bills off rap. So, but that only lasted for maybe like a really like maybe 2-year period, if that. And then like I kind of like, I didn't go into a depression at that point, but it was kind of like a big reality check, because it was like, all right, I got used to being able to like, I was used to having to like do other stuff to pay my bills, and then I was able to pay my bills like this, and I was able to like focus on the music more, or like, actually I'll take that back. Like I think it was more realization that I wasn't able to focus on the music as much because I had to do more logistical stuff, but I enjoyed the freedom of not having to like go find a job or like trap is hard. You know what I mean? So then when I like realized like, all right, well if I want to like continue to live how I'm living, I'm gonna have to like either hustle harder or, you know, get a job, and I can't make people buy my music. Like, you know what I'm saying? I can put more effort into marketing and promoting and stuff like that, and try and make more of a conscious effort to like make my shit, put my stuff in people's faces, but I can't make it hot. And this is at a point in time where I think like, you know, like I think due to the political climate, not just in Sacramento, but just kind of the overall vibe of like the rap game and like the streets just in general and just that climate, I think you being popping I think I was like part of the last era where you could like really get popping off of just having good music, if that makes sense. Yeah. Like anytime after I think like 2000, let's say like 15, you kind of had to have some controversy attached to your situation to make your music go. So around that time, I kind of fell back, and I think to answer your question, like how it's been for me on the business side, once I stopped kind of like being dependent on trying to make money off of rap and just started looking at it like, all right, if this is something I want to do, it's kind of like an expensive hobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I compare it a lot to, I have two analogies. Like I compare it to like college basketball. a lot.
Yeah.
And then I compare it to like once you get past that point of like you have like basically if you're a college basketball player, you have 4 years. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And if you don't get, if you don't go to the league in those 4 years, your situation is either you're gonna play in like a D League or a G League.
Yeah.
You're either gonna go play overseas, or that's pretty much it. Or you're gonna look into doing some type of professional training, or like taking a role behind the scenes on a team or something like that, and being a trainer.
Facility,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, if that doesn't work out, the analogy that I have is like, if your shit doesn't pop in those 4 years, it's kind of like if you're still super talented and you're still competing at a level where it turns into almost like being in the PGA, where okay, you might be good enough to get in, but if you don't have wins under your belt, or if you're not like a household name, you're not garnering sponsorship. So you have to pay your way through. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like people look at my situation like, all right, I played my music for a young lady couple at work not too long ago, and she was like, oh my God, this sounds like really good. Like this sounds like stuff that I listen to. And I was like, yeah, that's because I'm a professional artist. Like I make music at a professional level. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's nothing about anything that I really put out there, like from the artwork to the mixing and mastering, to the quality of the music, to the production, to the music video, to the how I'm styled and dressed. Everything, is done pretty much at a professional level. So, but I'm financing it being done at a professional level, and I'm not making pro money doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's like the best way I could kind of sum it up. This shit is like a professional hobby. Like, you know what I mean? It's expensive to do it, but it's fun and I enjoy it. You know what I'm saying?
It's the art.
And I compete at a level high enough that, golf is like, it's the thinking's man game or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's chess or whatever. But it's the businessman's game or whatever. And it's like, if you want to be in those rooms, a lot of big money plays get closed on the golf, on the green. You know what I'm saying? And, if you want to be in those rooms and rub those elbows with those people and be around those conversations and stuff like that, you got to pay to play. So I've kind of been, just competing at this professional level for the last decade or whatever, waiting for, the next thing that's going to pop it off. You know what I'm saying? Because it might not be a rap play. It might not be no music stuff. It might be something with the cannabis. It might be something with the culinary stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because the culinary stuff's popping too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
because right now music is just a promotional tool. Like, music isn't a consumable entity anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. And people's attention spans are too short for it. You know what I mean? So like now, like back in the day where it's like you would put out music videos and you would do your rollout to promote your album, and then people would go buy a physical piece of product from you. They'll go buy your CD. They'll go buy your single. You know what I'm saying? And I was having that conversation with my boy DJ Oasis today. I was like, the record industry got geeked on the fact that, we can do these multi-million dollar, hundreds of thousands of dollar partnerships with these record labels to license the music for these streaming services. And it doesn't matter that it's only making 1/7 of a penny per stream for the artist, and however much it's making the label. I'm sure it's not that much more, but because we're making the money from, just licensing it, the fact that they get to use the music. You know what I'm saying? But how it affects the artist is, say, it costs $3 to make a CD in Indonesia with the track listing and packaging and everything, right? From that's going to the store, it's selling for $9.99, $13 with the or whatever. Yeah, with the upmark. If you figure, even if an artist has a really shitty deal, they're at least making $1 on that. So when you went platinum, if you sold a million copies of this physical product, you could assume the artist made $1 million after taxes. That's like a little over 600 something thousand, like close to 700,000. You know what I mean? After Uncle Sam take his 30%. You know? Yeah. So, now there is no physical product to consume. You're consuming a concert. You're consuming an experience. You're consuming a concert. You're consuming merchandise.
And even if you get what people are doing, not to control, I'm sorry, but there's even some artists that will give you a physical copy when you buy a ticket, and they're counting that as a album sale. You know what I'm saying? So you buy a ticket, it's going to come with a CD, and it's like album sale.
They trying to trick the game. Yep. They just trying to finesse they're cooking the books.
Like, it's the same thing when people do deluxe albums. Not to shit on them or anything like that, but it's like it's counting it all as one. You know what I mean? That's a total sale. So 1 week is this, and then 2 weeks later it's like,
or the same reason artists will put a single on the album. Like, an artist won't put an album out for 2 years, but if they had a big single 2 years ago, they'll put that song on the album that comes out 2 years later because those streams count towards that album.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. I want to meet the dumb consumers. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know that many dumb consumers. Yeah. I think the music industry is so consumed with other industries, whether it be fashion or other forms of entertainment, movies, concerts, like you said, or whatever. Like, I think they just so not paying attention to the consumers that are left because it's been such a marginalized population because the value of music doesn't really exist anymore. I think that people in the music industry are so out of touch that they don't know that the consumer is way smarter. Like, we see through the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they really don't know, like, that the audience is aware that this is going on.
And now more than ever, I would say fashion is kind of leading that thing right now. Before, it used to be music, and you get fashion from music videos and shit like that. Now it's kind of like opposite. Now the fashion is the one. You might hear a song pop off from a fashion show, from a fashion shooting, from a fashion thing on Instagram, and a song will get popped off from that. You know what I'm saying?
Did you have cable growing up?
I did not.
Neither did I.
I did not. I had
I didn't know what my favorite rappers looked like until I went to my cousin's house or I went to my brother's house and I seen the music video. I knew what Puff Daddy voice sounded like. Yeah. I knew what Snoop voice. I knew what they sounded like. I didn't know what they looked like. You know
Run DMC with the tracksuits.
So now you see people before you hear them. And that's like, I think stuff got messed up because you could be scrolling and it could be Lil what's his name and you just see he got the drip on. Like, you don't even care about his music. You might not listen to his music until you see him post 3 or 4 times. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And that's, that just is what it is. Like, it sucks, but it's kind of, you gotta. My boy was breaking it down to me. My boy PK was like telling me, like, you gotta, like, we have these conversations. He's like, it's really clear you see the game for what it is. So it's like, you got to decide whether you want to play the game or not, because the game has changed from what it has. And you've been able to survive at the level that you're surviving at by just being consistent with releasing music. But that's just keeping me at this level. Like,
and that's not even including the pressure aspect of things too. Like, there's been times where there's talking about, social media and shit like that, and the age of when shit started popping off and not being, the controversial thing. That's what the lane that I try to avoid too with the podcast. Like, I didn't have people tell me like, you should incorporate this or get this for, and they would say, that's what I'm saying. But how they would frame it, would they be like, get this for your viral moment? And I'm like, that's not me though. I
spent 12 minutes watching a video today because the title said it was going to be something, and the video was not about that. Yeah. And I was so upset. I can't get that 12 minutes back. Right. I was actually wanted to, like, oh, it says this. Like, no, that wasn't what it was.
It's that word that stuck with me the most when they said you got to get your viral moment. I'm like, I'm not searching for a viral moment. I'd rather have a genuine, authentic moment that just happens to organically grow. You know what I mean? Than forcing something to talk about something that I don't even want to give an opinion on.
Man, I hope I never go viral.
Yeah, bro. Like, well, think about even.
Well, you know what happens with going viral?
And as what? Like, as an artist? Mm-hmm. What happens?
You have to go viral again.
Yeah.
Because then anything, like, you could have had a good release. Yeah. Up until that point, right? Mm-hmm. But if you don't go viral again, there's not going to be anything to give whatever you like. You can capitalize on your 15 minutes when you go viral. Yeah. But then after that, they're going to be looking for something to be attached to. Like, people don't remember the music no more. They remember the moments.
Yeah. What have you done for me lately type of thing?
Yeah. So it's like, you got to give them another moment. You know what I'm saying? Why you think them 2 white boys with the dreadlocks and face tats start kissing each other?
Yeah. Because they need the next thing to pop off.
Yeah. They had too many, you know what I mean? Shit got slow. Yeah. Like, fuck, what can we do next? We need shock value. What can we do? You know
and then the first time was just a kiss. The third time was tongue and shit now. And I'm like, yeah. No, that's facts. That's true.
But it's not gay because they're twins.
But you feel what I'm saying? Like that. But I feel you on that because it's searching incest, for the next thing.
It's not homosexuality.
Yeah. And it's like, what's the next thing that they're searching for? So you are right with that. And like I said, it goes back to all the credit to you for being consistent as you are and getting the praises.
My bad, I was trying to give you your viral moment.
Hey, but you see how I fucking dodge that shit? I was like, no.
You on your toes. I like
you know what
that.
I'm saying? But it just, but it's because people tell me about, like, they'll be like, they try to give me, I had a homie one time, he was telling me, yo, talk about Trump. I'm like, what am I going to say about him? I don't got much to say about dude. Like, if it's not, I'm not going to say anything bad, but it's not like I have a lot of good things to say either. So I'm just not going to really say much. But then it's like, what am I going to do too? Talk about a debate? And just then I had to have someone here to debate about a debate. You know what I'm saying? Like, now what?
You see, this is the thing. Like, I had a really bad, it was a bad debate because I lost it, and I'm very good at arguing. So yeah. I was just kind of flustered at the fact I lost the debate and kind of had to accept my loss. But I had a conversation with one of my partners that, you know, not racist at all, white dude.
Yeah.
I mean, Jewish guy. Like, he was telling me how he voted for Trump and why. And he, you know, when you have your opinion and somebody else has the facts,
yeah,
and you just don't like that the facts are about somebody that you don't like, it's kind of hard to accept them as not being somebody's opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, the fact was, like, when Trump was in office, like, I think he was smart about how he handled his PR and created more controversy to, like, hide people from the fact that, like,
shit was going on in the back, and he's like, trip on this.
Bro, it was money flowing through this motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like,
you want to touch it.
You
got me talking about Trump.
You think, bro, how many people you know hit for EDD, PPP?
Oh, bro, I got a homie
SBI,
right now. I tell him, bro, you got to pay that shit back. He's like, no, I don't.
All that. Come on, bro. How many people hit?
They got a lick off that.
You think the federal government
ain't gonna get the back?
No. They're not, bro. They're not finna get it back. They're not.
What they finna do?
You know why?
Why?
Bro, do you know how easy that stuff was to do? Scamming is hard.
Yeah.
Scamming is not easy.
Okay.
That stuff was easy. So you think that they just made it hella easy for everybody to just get that money, like, and it wasn't on purpose?
Oh, you talking about like the print?
No, like the government just giving the checks out and everything.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Donnie T let that slide. Like, you know what I'm saying? He was like, I can't go to the House of Representatives and pass a bill to just let millions and millions and millions of dollars just flow through the government and just go to the people for this COVID relief. I can give everybody this little $2,000 or what was it, like $600?
I think it was like $1,200.
Everyone got a stimmy. I can give you a stimulus, but I can't just like give people money. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But we got this EDD, we got this COVID relief and all this other stuff right now.
Yeah.
And then when they figured out that they had cracked it, people had cracked it and figured out how to get money out of it, they didn't turn the faucet off.
Yeah, that's true.
They just let it keep running. Like,
and there was no metric. There was no way to gauge, right? There was no like, no on this or when is the end.
You know what it was? Is like during COVID, couldn't nobody work. Couldn't nobody go to the office. And even though a lot of that stuff is digital records, a lot of that stuff is probably still physical records and stuff too. So all the people that were filing the paperwork for EDD and all those other companies and stuff or whatever, they didn't go and basically check that these people actually worked at these jobs and had these businesses that they said that they had.
Yeah, it's true.
They was just like, oh, we got this money to give away. This dude said he needs some money. Give him a check.
Got him. And then people did come up.
Yeah,
they came up off it. Yeah, but I'm telling you, I got one homie right now who's like, he thinks he's in the clear. I'm like, I don't know, bro. I don't know.
One of the other facts he messed me up with was too is like, he signed a bill that basically made more money go to historically black colleges than any other president had ever let happen. Like, he basically signed this grant that lets all this money go.
So at first, at front face value, when you're looking at it, you're like, nah.
Yeah.
And then you look and you're like, damn.
If Trump get back in an office, you know what the first thing he's going to do is? You know what?
Pardon himself?
You know, not even pardon himself. You know what Trump's going to run with on the campaign of?
Relief?
Man.
What?
Man, Slack coming home, man. Free Thugger, man. That's his whole campaign. I'm telling you right now. He's going to run on the grounds that if elected, he's going that look, on some Simpson shit. I'm predicting it right now. Predicting it right now on some Simpson shit. He's going to run on the campaign that the DA in Atlanta did coercive investigating the same way that they went into his books and did him, and that he knows that that's illegal, so he's going to throw the whole case out.
Donnie T. And then he's going to get the majority vote. You know what I'm saying? See, you finessed me into talking to Trump. You know what I mean? But maybe I just needed. I wasn't against it total. I was just like, well, who am I gonna go back and forth with it with? And it wasn't even the back and forth.
You know what I like about Trump, and it's hard to say I like anything to like something about somebody like that.
Yeah,
he's like for the most part, he seems like he's kind of able-bodied. Like he doesn't look like he's. Hurting. If I blow on him, he's gonna fall over. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
he ain't gonna fall asleep mid-interview.
I don't like, bro. Joe Biden looked like he finna ask you what's for dinner right now at like 5 p.m. Like, you know what I'm saying?
No, he looked like
he don't know what day it is.
He reminds me of the president. You ever seen Scary Movie 3? The dude that plays the president, where he forgets to wear his underwear. And he comes out, he's like, did I forget to put my underwear on again? Or my coat on? He reminds me of that dude.
Bro,
you know what I'm saying?
He looks like if you blow on him too hard, he's gonna fall over. You know what I'm saying? Just like
he looks like the type to be like with the calendar in front of his face to be like, what day is it today?
Yeah,
with the fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's today? He'll be like, is it 2008? And we're like, what the fuck? What happened to homie? You know what I mean? No disrespect. Don't come after me. But going back to the music thing, right? So, I got a good story to tell you too. So this was 2016, I want to say 2017. We was in Vegas, and this is around the time you had just you had a feature with Sue, the Fire Up.
Oh yeah,
I remember.
Shout out Sue. Shout out AK.
Shout out Sue. And I was in Vegas, and we was at Dreas. You know, you ever been to Dreas? With the outdoor fucking pool and all that shit, right? So we was getting ready to go see Future. And Future was supposed to, you know, he never on time. And he was supposed to come on at 11 or 12 or some shit like that. And homie didn't come on until 2:30 in the morning with Metro Boomin.
Damn.
I was only there for 30 minutes, bro. I couldn't. I'm like, bro, I'm tired. It's 3 a.m. You know what I'm saying? And but prior to that, they had a DJ that and I can't remember homie's name, but he was from Cali. And they had a DJ that was kind of there, like, you know, warming up the sets and kind of just like keeping the vibes going until he came out. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was playing old school shit, Wayne shit. At one point, I swear to God, I heard Jagged Edge, but Genuine was there. And then it switched up and he played the Fire Up track right there. And it was cool to see, you know, from Sacramento and from California, be right there and seeing all the people vibing with it, because he played the whole track through and through. You know what I'm saying? It was cool to see everybody fuck with it heavy.
I'd love to see that.
It was crazy. I got a video. I want to say it's probably an old little Snapchat memory, but that shit was hella cool to see.
That's hard.
And
shout out to whoever that DJ was.
Yeah, I forgot his name. I should have got that shit. I didn't expect to see a DJ there that early, and I also didn't expect Future to come on at fucking 2:30 in the morning. You know what I'm saying?
I got in an Uber one time and that song came on.
Did it really? Mm-hmm. Oh shit! They played over here too. Remember? Shout out R.I.P. to one of the best places ever here in Sacramento. High Water. Remember High Water?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've done some of my best and worst work in High Water.
Yeah, I love High Water. I missed it. It was cool while it lasted, especially Salty Saturdays. I think it was the thing. You know what I mean? It was one of them. But it was cool to see and to hear, you know what I'm saying, like your music all around. And like I said, especially right there. And because I mean, locally, like I said, you're a whole fucking legend out here. You know what I'm saying? Like between not just your music, your EPs, the albums, the projects, but also style, influence, your culinary arts, the bake sales, and then in the cannabis, you know what I'm saying? And then kind of intertwining and mixing everything in that, you know what I'm saying? Especially the merch too. I feel like a lot of people, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people will see it and then be like, oh, who was that? And you'd be like, yo, that was Plus. You know what I'm saying?
That goes back to the thing I was saying with like the consistency. Like I feel like at this big age is like the first time I'm getting to a point where I'm like consistent with like not everything, but at least like the things that are like really important. Like I want to start being back more consistent with the merch, but I think just on some like grown man vibes, like it was important for me to like be on top of my business as far as like the culinary and like the cultivation side of things or whatever, because that's really what's bringing the bag in, that's keeping the rap stuff afloat. You know
right? Yeah.
Until it kick off and make some money. You know what I mean? So, but merch wise, I think I've always just been a fan of like just really just like a lot of the influence comes from like me skating. And I think just skateboarding being kind of like one of the epicenters of like
you hear that
fashion in general. And also just being like I be knowing when I'm on something before other people are on it. And I might not be the first person on it, but I might be the first person you see do something. And it doesn't mean I necessarily did it first, but I just be knowing like when things are about to pop off. So, but it also be things that like I know to avoid. You know what I'm saying? Like the flared pants thing, like the bell bottom thing. Like I know that's not my lane. That's not. Especially too because I'm shorter. Like I feel like you know
I'm shorter too.
That's
bro.
like that looks cool on like tall dudes.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They could kind of work that look. I can't get down with that. I can't get jiggy with that for real.
Yeah.
But it just be, just stuff that I like. RIP Tumblr. Like I feel like a lot of I just used to scroll Tumblr and just be influenced before Instagram was really like
that bug going on
like
your head beyond that little thing.
Yeah, it keep landing on my
I know, me too. I was doing that shit too.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Like I said, talking about the merch and keeping it right here too. The reason why I wanted to have this episode right here at the homie's barbershop because he designed his own merch too.
I know.
You know what I'm saying? That. Yeah, and I told him from a while ago. There's only a few. We've only done one other episode with him right here, and it was with him. But I was telling him when I have another person on, it was like two other people that I want to have on. But the next one that I want to have on right here was with Plus, so he could see some of this shit and kind of I don't know. I like to get people creatively like to link like together. You know what I'm saying? Because I consider myself a creative, but I don't really got much proof physically. You know what I'm saying?
You're creating right now, aren't you?
Yeah. And that's why I like to be like in the hub and be around other creators because I feel like it gets those creative juices flowing. You feel me? Like that's just
that part.
What it likes for it. You know what I'm saying? And with the teas and I feel like one of the 916 tee. For the 76. Yeah. I feel like a lot of people have seen that one and not known. You know what I mean? Me. That was you.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not getting the credit.
Yep. It sucks because like if you don't just put like buy C+ or like whatever, like it might be on my page or whatever, but you don't know this me.
Yeah.
I kind of like that though.
Because it just you see it and you're just like a little, maybe like a little humble brag. I told you that bug's going for you, bro.
It's like if I got paid off it or whatever and I know it's mine and it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't have to. I think I kind of always wanted to do the merchandise like that. You know what I mean? I did the Plus Money hoodies and that says like my Instagram handle on it, obviously. But I don't think I've ever done no merch that like just has my name on it or like anything like that. I did like the anniversary shirts for All City and I had like the my face on it a bunch of times and stuff like that. It said C+ and shit or whatever, but or All City. But besides that, like I haven't done any merch that like just is like rapper merch. Like I've just made clothes that I know you need to sell merch as a rapper, but I never like made clothes that like
specifically stamp and say this is it.
So I think I kind of like that better. I feel like it makes it stand alone.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Well, it's a separation from it too, like the identity aspect of it, right? It's like I got this. Like like I rap. You know what I'm saying? And lyrically, I could be out there with the best of them for sure.
The thing I seen something recently that kind of like made rationalize that in my head and make it make sense. It's like I went to Larry June's concert and it's like they had like Larry June concert like merch for the tour, but then it's like that's separate from the Midnight Organic brand. You know what I'm saying? So it's like you could, you know what I mean? You could exist in both worlds and like something. I want to create things that like stand alone. Like they might be promoted and be adjacent to me doing music or whatever, but like I don't want my weed to like, the weed's not going to have my name on it. You know what I'm saying? Like the pack's not going to say buy C+. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, or like the food, like, all right, it's Chef Plus or whatever, but like all the menus and stuff, they say Chaz Wheeler on it. They don't say nothing about no C+ on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like I want to be able to exist in that world separately from rap. I want to be respected as a cannabis entrepreneur or ganjapreneur, as my boy D-Rex says, and as a grower and a cultivator. You know what I'm saying? Like I want to be respected as an MC, obviously, but I feel like I already done that. But I want, not more. I'm not really tripping off the recognition and stuff like that. Like I think it's just like I want monetary success to a point to validate the people that supported from the jump. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Because I feel like people don't believe it till they see it type vibes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I could be a legend and I could have this crazy catalog that everybody knows about, but if it's not, like, being put on this pedestal or, like, it's not being spoken about like that, like, if it's not undeniable type vibes, then it's like, it don't matter for real.
Yeah. Well, I think the key thing that you said, and I think which we appreciate, like, as the fans, is that, like, you are, you know, dedicated to that, to the fan aspect of it, to the ear listener aspect of it. You know what I'm saying? Not just a person that's just gonna be like listening to listen. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that fuck with you are the people that fuck with you heavy. You feel what I'm saying? And this is why I wanted to have the sit down in the convo, because selfishly, this is why I enjoy podcasts. Is one aspect of it is I enjoy the creation process of things. I like the way we can sit down, see where the convo goes, and then have it uploaded, you know, in the universe. That creation aspect of it is one thing, but selfishly, I enjoy being able to be like, I can sit down with some of the artists that I genuinely enjoy.
Got his ass.
You feel what I'm saying? You got them? Yeah, motherfucker. And I get to sit down with the people that we like, that I listen to. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's like a double side of it that I enjoy the most out of all this. You know what I'm saying? And we're able to highlight
Name
you.
5 C+ songs right now.
Right now, off of what album?
No, I'm just
Name
playing.
it. Don't say off of what. Were we going 10-year?
You know why I said that, right?
Oh, the dude that does the interview things. Oh, you know who said it's Russ.
You sitting with 5 people right now that can't name 5 of your songs.
That's why someone named which album. You know what I'm saying? Live from the Kitchen, 10-year, or you want Greatest Hits, the one that just dropped recently.
Live from the Crib, not Live from the Kitchen.
Oh, Live from the Crib. Yeah, my bad. Because you was in the kitchen. in a fucking on a bike. That's why too. You know what I'm saying? Oh, but that's actually one I wanted to talk about too. One of your highlighted posts was one of the homies. He was sitting down with KD when he was talking about Tenured.
That was the album I put out last year.
But when he said, how did that moment feel? Because I recently had Tieta on, and we was talking about the Russell freestyle. You know, when he was giving her praises on it. You know what I'm saying? And you were able to see that. Like, how did that moment feel when you saw your homie talk to KD about your album?
I ain't gonna lie, like that, it felt great, but I had some other like personal stuff going on, like at that same time. That like, you ever get like some really bad? I was dealing with some bad news while I got some really good news, if that makes sense. So
I know
exactly. Just like evened out type vibes.
I know exactly where you're coming from. I went to the homie right here actually. His wedding. I was a groomsman in his wedding. My grandfather had passed away 4 days. Yeah, R.I.P. to my personal GOAT. Me and my grandfather were like super close, bro. Like my motherfucking, that's my dog. You know what I'm saying? He's the one that lived with growing up with. Like I told you, there was like 14 of us. It was in his crib. You know what I'm saying? And so he had passed away, and then 4 days later was homie's wedding, and he was just like, "Hey man, I get it. Because I was part of the groomsmen. He's like, "Hey man, I get it. If you can't come," and I was like, "Nah, I gotta be there. I just gotta make sure I'm cool, hold myself straight." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like bad timing, but like it's a good thing too. So like I feel I'm not comparing it to that, because hearing KD talk about an album that I would have done, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it was great. Like I was super just appreciative of it. You know what I'm saying? Especially my boy, shout out my boy Bansky that does the podcast with KD. We got such a relationship that it's like any type of look that bruh's ever given me, I ain't never asked him for nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, to be somebody that like, that like, I could ask bruh for pretty much anything.
Yeah.
And it's done if it's in his power type vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Nice, yeah.
But it's like, I don't think it's a pride thing or anything like that. I think it's more so just like, I know what it's like to be the guy in position where everybody wants a favor.
Yeah.
So it's more so looking out, because I know, one, that's my dog, and two, how I know how it feels to be in that position. I don't want to be another favor. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's when people do stuff like that, like without you asking, it just shows kind of like how they built. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's like genuine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then KD, like how he gave it up on the podcast, and then how it was when I met him in person, like it was the same type.
Oh, you got to meet him?
Yeah.
Oh, dope. Yeah.
Super cool dude, super humble. But like I said, like same energy he had on the podcast when they were talking about it or whatever. That was just like we talked about music and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
was it switched up?
Yeah,
was it switched up? On camera on and off still the same?
Yeah, so that was dope.
Dope. That's good when you get people like that. Cause I didn't have a few interactions where that wasn't the case. It was the opposite.
You know what I realized is like fame and like success and money and shit like that. It's like they can give you a dopamine rush, and it's like you ever meet people that just like they smoke weed and don't get high, or they drink and don't get drunk, or they could snort some coke and not get high or whatever. Like, I think it's like that. Like I think some people like. They can get all that stuff, and it doesn't taint their personality or their character. Right. It just doesn't do nothing for them. You know what I'm saying? Like, or they've had so much of it that their tolerance is super high for it, and they, like people all the time like, oh, you have to get high every day. I'm like, nah, bro, I smoke to get normal. Like everything said.
True. I feel that, bro. I want to talk about lastly the most recent. Is it safe to say project? Because it's the greatest hits album. Like, basically, it's just a collection.
It's a mixtape.
It's a mixtape.
It's just a mixtape.
Am I off if I say like there's the album cover? Maybe is there like some Jay-Z influence in it?
I recreated the cover from In My Lifetime Volume 1.
Yeah. And
I recreated the cover was one thing like that. We nailed that, but getting the back photo too and doing like the track listing and liner notes like the same way they did. We did that. I did that one time. I did it for the Twin Towers album with me and D-Rec, right? And it got such a good response, and we were like so attention to detail oriented in making that cover that I was like, oh, I might do something like this again. You know what I'm saying? Why? And it was tight to me because it's like, all right, so like the Best of Practice with Plus that you're talking about, that was the first time that I recreated somebody's actual album cover. Yeah. The 2 times that I've done it before, the Live from the Crib, I'm recreating a famous picture of Prodigy, but it's not an album cover or anything. It's just like it was like in the Source or some shit like that. And then the time before that for Twin Towers, that's Notorious B.I.G. and Puff Daddy on the cover of Vibe magazine. You know what I'm saying? So another one came. Damn. Yeah,
they after you. They're on you.
So that was like, when I do recreate stuff like that, I just want everything to be like, I don't want it to look like, all right, we just paying homage. Like, no, like I'm doing exactly, I'm not doing a cheap imitation of it. Like we have to actually do the exact thing. But actually it is a cheap imitation because if you look at the picture that I took, I'm wearing a leather jacket. You can't tell. I've seen that picture so many times as a kid, seen that album cover. Now you on you.
Yeah, he on me.
That I didn't know that it's like how you don't know that Michael Jackson's wearing a sweater on the cover of
Bad?
I think so.
Yeah,
he has a sweater like under the little shirling thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I didn't know that Jay-Z was wearing it's like a mohair type jacket.
Shit, I didn't even think about that.
The whole time I'm thinking it's a leather jacket.
Yeah.
When you look close, that motherfucker's like mohair or like cashmere or some shit. Like it's some like way like fancy like silky type looking material.
Damn. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, so I didn't get a mohair.
Well, that's because the black and white, right?
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I just had a leather on, but
we
did it right though.
Yeah, no, that's just super dope. And I remember I was tapped in on one of the lives that you was doing. I think it was when it had just dropped, and you was going through the tracks. And I remember, just like listening to it, actively engaging on it, and it was like all right, track 10. This is where we really talking shit now. This is where like if you made it this far, now you just getting into it.
And I did that on purpose where I put, like, I feel like the first couple songs on there are beats that are more popular so people will know them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I also purposely put, like, I rapped on like 3 or 4 Drake beats. So I put all the Drake beats together. I rapped on like 2 Future beats. I put all the Future beats together. I rapped on like 3 Kanye beats. I put all the Kanye beats together. You know what I'm saying? So after like, I think like the Kanye section, then it's like there's like a DJ Premier beat, then there's like a Jay Dilla beat or something. Like I start getting into the more hip hop type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And like I was rapping like the whole tape, but it's like I feel like when it's like gonna be like you can only rap kind of a certain type of way on a certain type of beats. If that makes sense. Like I can get on like a mainstream, like a like a Lil Baby song or something like that and still be lyrical. You know what I'm saying? But Lil Baby might have a hard time getting on a Primo beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I had to give you your flowers on that one, like I said, because it was on that one about that midway point that you was talking about. And I remember another funny story that I'm actually gonna kind of clown myself on. I was listening to it early in the AM, like I was going for a run in the treadmill in my garage, and it was I can't remember from the top of my head which track it was, but I remember you was talking your shit heavy, and I was getting into it a little too much, and I fucked up my wall. I closed my eyes for a sec because I was envisioning. I was just throwing my hands and shit like that, and I fell back on the treadmill, and my foot got stuck on the treadmill, and I made a hole in my wall. So I'm gonna text you a picture because I haven't fixed it.
God.
There's a hole in my wall from me falling on the treadmill, and because I got too busy, caught up with the lyrics and shit like that, and I fucked up my my wall because of that. So
that's like the story of Kareem's Biggs Burke saying that he crashed his Land Rover or his Range Rover listening to Beanie Siegel.
Oh,
and he was like, yeah, I had the mixes for like Bean's album, and he was like listening to it and was driving and just was a little too into it.
That was me
because he was wilding out.
That was me. That whole stood. I'm finna text you a picture.
Damn.
But I got it. Like I said, I gotta give you your praise on that one because you were saying on that live too. You're like, oh, a lot of this shit. This is me just freestyle. I've been doing this since a youngin'. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of it just freestyling and everything. And
I gotta stop. Well, I don't gotta stop doing the freestyles, but it's like I don't know if I should like reuse some of the verses or something like that or whatever. Because it's like I give away like a lot of like good stuff just on the freestyles, but I look at it like it's just like a promotional tool. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like it keeps like the engagement going when I'm not releasing actual music.
Yeah.
Because I've been trying to like be a little bit more strategic about releasing music and not just put shit out and hope for the best type vibes.
Yeah.
But doing that and putting out I just wanted to get them out there. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like you can watch it on your phone, but and then even in that too, I'm trying to figure out a way to make it more accessible because I can't put I'm rapping on other people's beats, so I can't put it on digital streaming platforms.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to make it a way that it's easier for the listener to get to it. But then also in a lot of ways too, I kind of like that it makes it almost like it's like if I put a song on Audiomack, you have to go to Audiomack to listen to the song. You know what I'm saying?
Or
so it
Bandcamp.
So it kind of makes it like a little baby treasure hunt. You know what I'm saying? But
it's
like,
a cool aspect of it. Yeah,
you have to actually be engaged and actually like me to do that shit. So that there comes in like the TikToking and the other content and stuff like that. Because it's like, all right, how do you make people actually like you enough to go to these places to find your music to where they can actually support you directly as opposed to just listening to you on a streaming platform and you get your 1/7 of a penny.
No, that's facts, bro. You have to make that search, make that hunt, and then once you do, man, is there a pot of gold at the end? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I just want to just keep putting more music out like that.
Yeah, man.
Like, I'm a obviously like drop on Apple Music and Spotify and all that too. But like I just want to just have a plethora of music out there and then like also nothing be whack. Like I don't have any. There's stuff obviously like I like better than other stuff or whatever. But like or stuff that you could tell was like I spent more time on it. It was more polished or whatever. But for the most part, like I don't really feel like I got any whack music like that.
Yeah, and that's facts, bro. Well, we all here for it. New, old, reusing some shit. Another greatest is maybe a volume 2. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, there's gonna be volume 2 for sure.
Yeah,
like,
whichever one is the case, we all here for it, bro.
I purposely started like recording all like the majority of the freestyles now. Whereas before, it's like a lot of them I just rap to my phone directly. I didn't even like record them. You know what I'm saying? So now like I at least have the files if I do decide to do a volume 2.
Okay. All right. Volume 2 on the way. All right, bro. Well, man, like I said, one that I wanted to sit down and chop it up with you and give you your praises for being a legend out here and being lyrically up there on par with the best of them, bro. So thank you so much for doing this. Thank you. I appreciate you for sitting down. Thank you to the homie Jeffrey. Appreciate it down here. The Basics Barbershop, 408 12th Street. And yeah, man, if we can we close out with a little
I can't do it on command.
We can't do it on command? You got that's on that.
It gotta be like organic. It gotta be like natural.
Yeah. You know on the command, he said. Okay, all right.
That's so like if I was like, would you ask Jadakiss to laugh?
I mean, he probably would just start laughing though. Nah. But it wouldn't be the same laugh though.
He probably laugh, but it wouldn't be the
Shout out to the logs, bro. All right, bro. Hey. Okay, y'all. Any funny closing thoughts, or should we close out with that?
Nah.
Close out with that. Y'all stay safe.
I knew I was gonna give you an ad-lib before you.
You were see. I was gonna throw the oop. I was gonna throw the oop.
Yeah.
Anyway, y'all stay safe. Peace.